Was our entire world created for the sake of human beings? Sometimes when we talk about the earth and the universe and how it was all created, it can sound like that's what we believe. Most of our creation stories get to the creation of man and then we stop. In the book Ishmael, we truly look at what we as humans believe about our world and what species might think. The book Ishmael is a philosophical look into what we think about our world and some of the ways that we need to change to help make it a better place. In this speech, I will briefly describe the plot of the book Ishmael and I will give you my opinion of it. The book opens with the narrator finding an ad in a newspaper for a teacher looking for a student. He's upset and feels like this is just another hoax because he has spent so long looking for a teacher and now has become hardened to the idea. The narrator goes and discovers that the teacher is in fact a gorilla named Ishmael. They begin to meet regularly so Ishmael can impart his wisdom, which he does through telepathic communication. Ishmael starts by talking to the narrator about the givers and the takers. The takers, being humans, are just the dominant species, and the givers being simpler species who live in a more primitive rules. Through what Ishmael calls the creation myth, he helps the narrator begin to see how the takers' culture, which seems to have been able to move away from the simpler rules and govern the givers, will one day collapse after the depletion of the planet's resources. They talk about a lot of other things, and eventually the narrator misses some of their meetings, and Ishmael is sold to the circus and eventually dies. This leaves the narrator continue on and try to teach others about the dangers of taker culture and how to live in harmony with other creatures on our planet. Now that I've given you a brief description of Ishmael, I will give you my opinion of it. I thought that it was a very interesting book, and it gave me a lot to think about concerning our Earth and the way that we treat it. I think we definitely make you consider other beings on the earth, or the givers, and how they live in a way that isn't damaging or super impactful to others. I think that it was really interesting to read right now because humans have been social distancing and staying home, and every week I see a new article about how the earth is being healed and flora and fauna are flourishing again. I think that it really proves some of the points that Ishmael made about the givers and the takers. There were definitely points where it was hard to read, not because it was bad or boring, but because it was so philosophical that I wasn't in the right headspace to read it or take in what it had to say. I think that if you're not into reading or you're not someone who likes to examine yourself or the practices of our people, then it would probably be a lot to read and you might find it boring. Overall, though, I thoroughly enjoyed the book and it gave me a lot to think about. In the last few minutes, I have described the book Ishmael and giving you my personal evaluation of it. Ishmael challenges the way we see our planet and our place in the earth and helps us to discover a better way to be able to cohabitate with other species, and it was very interesting and I liked it. When I first picked the book, it was because it was about a talking gorilla, but it ended up making me truly take a look at myself and how I view our world.